Which now popular phrase did How I Met Your Mother invent? Can you picture Jim Parsons, aka Sheldon Cooper, as Barney Stinson? And what detail, overlooked by Fairweather fans, completely redefines the way the show ended? Hi, I'm Peter, and you're watching OSSA. All aboard the How I Met Your Mother train on a revelatory journey that we guarantee will make you see the series as even more wait for it, legendary. Did you know that 3 lead actors, significant others, were also on the show? It's true, even if sometimes it was a case of blink and you'll miss it. Kobe Smulders' husband, Taran Killam, played Gary Blauman. You know, the guy from Barney's office who was invited to Robin and Barney's wedding. The show even devoted an entire episode to the character in season 9. There was also the cheeky Sandy Rivers, Robin's colleague at Metro News 1 and Worldwide News, portrayed by Alison Hannigan's real-life husband, Alexis Denison. And who could forget David Burtka, Neil Patrick Harris's spouse? He actually appears quite a few times over the course of the show, playing Lily's high school boyfriend, Scooter, who still has an unrequited crush on her. We're even treated to a brief scene between David and his real-life hubby Neil in the episode Something Borrowed at Lily and Marshall's wedding. It was pretty cute seeing these two having to act all innocent while secretly knowing that they're married in real life, and even raising 2 kids together. Looks like the show was a bit of a family affair for all the actors involved. Marshall and Lily were such a cute couple. I mean, nothing could break them apart. But why did we hardly ever see them kiss? Well, this was actually a personal request that none other than Alison Hannigan herself asked of the scriptwriters. She wanted them to make their on-screen kisses as infrequent as possible because she hated the smell and taste of cigarettes on Jason Segel's breath. That's right, the actor behind Marshall smoked like a chimney. In an attempt to spare his co-star from the filthy habit, Segel even made a bet with Hannigan. For every cigarette he smoked, he would give her $10. You might have already guessed, though, that Jason ended up paying Alison a pretty princely sum of money, which was a solid signal that he should quit. Nothing to do with his health, though, all just to save a few bucks. Sadly, though, it didn't take, and Segel resumed smoking a year later to handle the stress of the show and his other projects. Alison had to eventually accept her co-star's flaw, I guess. But still, no one loves kissing an ashtray, so don't be an asshole. Maybe sandwiches would have saved Segel from cigarettes. Remember how the characters were always eating sandwiches in college? And occasionally in their adult life as well? Well, maybe that's the reason why the clocks in Marshall and Ted's apartment are always set to the exact same time. You know? 4:20? This ubiquitous stoner slang is all over the US, but as codes go, it's not so secret anymore. There's even an unofficial National Cannabis Day celebrated on April 20th, so it's safe to say that the cat is well and truly out of the bag. However, the show's creators have never commented on this particular Easter egg, so I guess there's still some plausible deniability. Maybe the clock indicated that it was sandwich time, maybe the characters were stuck in some kind of lost like limbo, maybe they just bought them like that. It could have meant something completely different, right? What do you think? Let us know in the comments, but before you do, watch on for even more interesting details. The gang didn't only love sandwiches, but also hot dogs, burgers, all kinds of food. Lily won a hot dog eating contest, not once, but twice, and upon eating the last piece, stood up to show off her impressive belly. Sure, it was pretty funny, but not many guessed that that really was Alison Hannigan's actual stomach. And it was a pretty ingenious way to write real life into the script. You see, Hannigan was actually pregnant when season 4 was shooting. The show creators initially wanted to try and include the pregnancy on the show, but decided that it was way too early for Marshall and Lily to become parents. And Alison isn't the only one. Kobe Smulders was also pregnant that very same season. And the writers obviously couldn't have Robin give birth either because of a planned twist that would happen to her in later seasons. So the creators of How I Met Your Mother had to delve deep into their bag of tricks to hide the actress's growing baby bumps. Attentive viewers will have noticed that Lily and Robin are sitting down for most of the time in season 4, and their choice of fashion has suddenly lent itself more towards baggy clothes and jackets. Failing that, they frequently have large purses that cover their abdomens. But sometimes when even these tricks don't work and the bump gets too big to hide behind a bag, you have to get planetary. In one episode, for example, Lily has to hide behind a globe. Thankfully, by season 7, the characters had reached a point where Hannigan's second pregnancy could be included, so Lily had her own on-screen bun in the oven. Both the character and the actress gave birth at almost exactly the same time. Lily had a boy, and Alison had a baby girl. And what of the other characters? Well, can you imagine swapping out Sheldon Cooper for Barney Stinson? It may sound ridiculous. After all, we're so used to seeing Jim Parsons as the infinitely awkward science prodigy that it's almost impossible to imagine him as the smooth-sailing Barney Stinson. But It almost happened. Jim Parsons was one of the potential candidates for the role, but immediately knew he wouldn't get it. I auditioned to play Barney and felt I was very wrong for it, and almost ran screaming from the room after I auditioned. Like, well, I did that, and I don't know why, Parsons later shared. Jim was very honest with himself and quickly realized that Neil Patrick Harris was the right person for the part. As the ultimate choice for Barney Stinson, Neil applied all his charm to make sure what could have been a rather roguish character was actually very lovable. I mean, think about it. In someone else's hands, it might have been a bit too easy to notice that Barney Stinson isn't the best person in the world, so to speak. But thanks to Neil Patrick Harris, audiences fell in love with him, and it's all due to that legendary performance, which informed the character's immense growth as the show progressed.
Robin and I started dating. I got fat, her hair fell out. We broke up. Robin dated Dawn. I dated Nora. Cheated on her with Robin. I dumped Nora. Robin dated Kevin, but not for long. And then I met you, and you took my grandpa's watch, but I fell in love with you anyway, and you let me fart in front of you, and I asked you to marry me, and you said yes, and we came over here to meet little Marvin, and that's everything.
And speaking of Barney Stinson, remember how he would always refer to the so-called bro code? Stinson described it as a certain set of rules that should be followed when males have a close friendship. Remember rules like, bro always has his bro's back, and a bro shall not gaze at a naked bro. But did you know that Barney was the one who actually coined the term bro code? That's right, before the show, the bro code wasn't even really a thing. People had never heard this phrase before and didn't start talking about it in real life until How I Met Your Mother aired. So I guess bros all over the world owe you a debt of thanks, Mr. Barnabas Stinson, for introducing them to a concept of such vital importance and necessity. The details of the bro code, revealed piecemeal over the course of the series, can now be found in a book published in the real world. There are 150 articles behind this tongue-in-cheek legal document that contain everything from the definition of a bro to various amendments and approved punishments for violations. Moving on. Do you remember the gut-wrenching moment in the episode Bad News when Marshall learns about his dad's death? According to the show's co-creator Carter Bays, this was one of the most difficult scenes to film in the entire show. But despite all those difficult emotions, it was filmed in only one take. Jason Segel genuinely didn't know the news that Alison Hannigan was going to reveal to his character, since he had intentionally made sure not to read her lines in the script. So when Lily got out of the cab and broke his heart by saying that his dad didn't make it, Segel's shocked reaction is 100% authentic. It was a smart touch that made the scene feel so real for all of us at home too. When Marshall immediately broke down crying, that memorable line, "I'm not ready for this," was also improvised. And to be honest, I don't think any of us were ready for this. And no one was prepared for the subsequent episode with Mr. Eriksen's funeral. It was one of those moments when How I Met Your Mother dealt with reality in the most dramatic way possible and handled it perfectly. This same episode also included the saddest countdown in TV history. Attentive viewers have spotted that the background of most scenes in this episode included a series of numbers. They go from 50 at the very beginning right down to 1 right before Lily breaks the heartbreaking news to Marshall. Everyone who noticed the countdown on their first watch realized that the ending of the episode had to be significant in some way, but we were still left shocked by the actual reason, with most assuming that Lily was going to announce her pregnancy or some other happy news. Instead, it all came down to a much sadder message, showing us once again how good How I Met Your Mother was with foreshadowing important events and subverting expectations. But let's cheer things up a bit. Remember that scene in the 9th season episode, The Rehearsal Dinner, where everybody teases Robin for wanting to get married in her native Canada? The whole gang adored cracking Canada jokes, so in this episode, we get to hear tons of them, eh? There were Canuck classics like, "Are you gonna walk down the aisle wearing snowshoes?" or "What do we ask on your wedding invitation? Will you be having the elk or the moose?" It all went on for such a ridiculously long time. I'm not kidding, it was so long that a whole lifetime passed while they were telling these jokes. Don't believe me? Pay attention to the background of the scene. See that couple? They look like they're on their first date. Oh, and now he's proposing to her, how sweet. Whoa, they're getting married! And gee, look, she's pregnant. Ah, their son has graduated. And now she's an old lady mourning her husband's passing, sitting there with his ashes. Yeah, the gang really took their time sticking it to their Canadian friend. What's your favorite joke for the US's northern neighbor? We're dying to know. But you can't say the Raptors. Not anymore. Let's close with the final detail that will blow your mind and make you rethink the show from a different angle. The mother's past and Ted's future were way more interconnected than you would think. The first time you watch the 9th season of How I Met Your Mother, it's easy to overlook one important detail due to all the excitement of finally seeing the mother for the first time. We've been waiting for her for so long, it's the title of the show after all. But this detail is there for a purpose, and it shows that Tracy's story mirrors Ted's decision to get back with Robin. Remember why Tracy didn't date anyone while Ted was on his series-defining search for the one? It turns out Tracy thought that she had already found her one in her former boyfriend Max, who, as we now know, tragically passed away on her 21st birthday. However, by the time she met Ted, and after spending much of her adult life in some kind of secret mourning, Tracy had already decided to let go of her past and move on. She even asks the memory of Max if she could let him go in one of the most tear-jerking scenes of season 9, remember? In his own way, Ted, consciously or unconsciously, asks his children if he can move on after Tracy's death, despite all evidence pointing to the fact that she was his one. The whole story of the show ended up being a well-planned full circle for Ted and Tracy, both of them struggling to discover that maybe the story of the one is, well, just that, a story that doesn't hold up in reality. This was a lesson for the audience as well, and maybe not a welcome one. So if you hated the finale the first time you saw it, go ahead and give it another chance. You may just realize that Ted and Robin really could be finally together in the end. Both of them get what they wanted. She has her career and he has his kids. For the first time ever, the two characters are looking for the same thing. So perhaps they deserve to be happy together. What do you think of the series finale? Earned or awful? And did you notice any other details? Share your insights in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe and check out our new channel, Awesome Movies, where you can find out even more awesome facts about your favorite TV shows. Thanks for watching, and as always, stay awesome.